here.
All right.
So yeah, tell me what's going on. How can I help?
So I'm a 46-year-old administrative assistant, and I've been working in healthcare for about over 24 years now, in different administrative roles. And I'm just like feeling stuck, as if
Mm.
I can't get out of here. So just want to get some tips and ask some questions surrounding, how to navigate around transitioning
Sure,
in my
sure.
career and how to use the skills that I have obtained in my career to grow my personal business.
Awesome, awesome. Tell me a little bit about what have you tried? What gives you that feeling of feeling stuck?
Well, it seems like now in employment, I don't feel like employers are really um, compensating employees as they should be. The demand, they have more demand, but they're not um, giving it a great. It's not a great return return of investment, rather.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm finding that they are encouraging you to acquire more skills and learn more. But at the
Mhm.
end benefit of it, all the skills that you are obtaining and acquiring are only used to benefit them.
Mm.
And they want to kind of keep you where you are.
Mhm.
It's like a change management tact,
Mm.
that's being used. So just trying to figure out like how to navigate around that, when to say, okay, I'm done, or do I stay, and see
Mhm.
if there's going to be change. So
Awesome. So have you looked outside of your current employer or inside, or have there been
um,
any? Have you applied for different roles or?
I have, and I
Mhm.
think maybe my weakness is how I'm marketing myself with my resume, for
Mhm.
instance. So, and then it's like I'm finding a challenge too because we're having to compete with the younger ones. It's like, is it the experience versus the fresh new education that's coming out of school? You know,
Mm.
and you have to just deal with like health issues, work life balance. I found that the older that I've gotten, um, I have more. I'm just a little bit more stable,
Mm.
to worry about. You want to maintain being
Mhm.
stable, I'll say, and it's a little bit more harder in the workplace um,
Mhm.
now. So just trying to find that on the outside, finding hours that fit, finding places that are going to actually give that work life balance to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
And so when you've looked outside and you said marketing your skills early on,
mhm.
had you been applying and no responses, or what did that look like?
Yeah, or either I may get a reply that it's just another candidate,
Mm.
um, and they don't really tell you if you're lacking something or where you could do better when you're looking for that feedback.
Mhm.
Or either I don't know if it's just that, or if I'm not highlighting um, or using the right verbiage in the resume so that captures the attention. Even though, like for an entry level, especially if you're kind of transitioning where you are, like from administrative to IT role, for
Mhm.
instance, that would be entry level for me now.
Mm.
So just kind of convince them to give me a try, like
Mhm.
the concept of what they're looking for, um, but you may not have specifically been doing all of the job responsibilities that they're looking for, or maybe I have, but I'm not displaying it right,
Mm.
so
Mhm.
it reflects.
Okay. And what would your ideal position look like? Where would you like to transition to?
Okay, so currently I found over time, without me knowing that that's what I was doing, I do a lot of quality improvements,
Mm,
creating workflows, looking at data to determine if something's working or if it's not, or if it should be changed or not. So I'm kind of in that role. Workflows. I do have my Lean Six Sigma green belt,
oh,
and I also have a certification within health information technology
mhm,
that it specializes in document improvement and also looking at clinical metrics to make uh, to make sure that there's quality going on.
mhm,
Things are
mhm.
flowing like they should.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, you definitely have some great skills and experience. How long have you been in the administrative field?
About 24 years.
Okay, yeah, excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent.
So the customer service portion is natural, of course.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just like I'm doing the workflows and making sure that things are running efficiently where I am now. It's
Hmm.
just not the job title that goes with
Hmm. Been
it.
there, I know that feeling. Doing the work, but not
Yes,
not getting
and
the pay or the. I get that. I totally get that.
yeah, or I run into the problem of me having the knowledge of knowing what should be happening clinically, but
Hmm.
we can't give it to you because you're not a nurse. And so,
Hmm.
and then, but you know more than what the nurse knows as far as how it should be operating in the EMR or the medical record system. You
Hmm.
know, so that's my problem. Um, I don't want to be a nurse, but I understand what should be happening. So
Hmm.
just,
Hmm.
I guess, placing myself in the right, um, put myself in the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely it. I think positioning, I think you nailed it. That's exactly, that would probably more than likely attract your ideal employer and ideal role, as well as being compensated what you want, because you have 24 years. So I know for a fact you have a skill set that would definitely be attractive to decision makers. And I think to your point earlier, it's just about a lot of times it's identifying what those skills are because we're really not quite sure. We do a little bit of everything and we can do
Hmm.
it, but we're just
Hmm.
not sure how to identify and then market. So those two things, identifying what they are and then marketing them, I think will garner you a lot of attraction from decision makers. And even the field, the things that you've shared that you've done already, the EMR, the quality, all of that, that's what we should highlight in your resume. So, all of those experiences, those skills, any type of projects or any achievements or successes you may have streamlined. I know if you're working with workflows, I'm sure
Hmm.
there's been some times where you've maybe edited a process to make it faster or save
Right.
time, right? And
Yes.
so I know a lot of companies like to see two things when it comes to numbers: if you save them time and or money or made them money. So
Right.
a lot of that you could highlight on your resume. And health tech is a booming space right now.
Okay.
So that would be amazing for you to get in because one, it's something that's in demand. So it'll be around, and health is going to be around forever. People are going to always need
Absolutely.
something in the medical or health related industry. And then you got the technology component to it. So when we think about, especially when we get our age, we want to think about positioning and setting ourselves up, not just for now, but as far in the future as we can. Nothing's guaranteed, but we want to look and see where the demand is. And I think, and I know your skill set, there's definitely demand currently for what you're doing and then in the future. So I would position myself
Hmm.
in the health tech space. And then
Hmm.
you mentioned you like the quality um,
Yes.
type roles. So then it would be a matter of extrapolating from over those 24 years anything we can. that would
Okay.
align to quality auditing, all of those type of QA, quality assurance type of task. That's what I
Mhm.
would highlight on the
Okay.
resume.
Okay.
And you would get those types of recruiters and decision makers, hiring managers reaching out, because it's one thing to put our resume out there and then to get contacted in by people we really don't want. And
Right.
then,
It was absolutely.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
find ourselves in a desperation mode. We don't want to just take anything and settle, because then it'll be like this. We'll be back in the market again looking for something,
Right.
right?
Absolutely. And so I think that I finally came to realize that using those skills, I create my own business
Mm-hmm.
where I can use those skills because it's like I'm finding that I don't want to be in on anyone else's time 8 hours a day because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not able to grow self within that
Mm-hmm.
time. And then when you start to get overwhelmed by the demands of being in corporate America and in the workforce, um, you're too fatigued and you're too tired by the time you
Mm-hmm.
get home to even concentrate on how to build your own brand or any of that. So that's been one of my biggest issues with that is trying to take those skills, grow my own business, as to where maybe I can maybe go into consulting and
Mm-hmm.
helping places. Kind of see where they are, what the needs are, what the goals are, and helping them use the EMR to do that and develop an office system that's going to work as well.
Now
By
that would be
understanding,
amazing.
yeah. So, uh, I like problem solving. So
Mhm.
it's like I get frustrated within my position because I want to solve a problem because I see that something's wrong, but
Mm.
then you're having to do the actual main important job duties, whether that be being
Mhm.
interrupted by patients constantly, so
Mhm.
that's why I say it's like I feel I'm getting stuck. I've got to kind of get away from that, but yeah, so that's my biggest problem is just trying to grow that business and get started. Um,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, definitely. No, it can be tough trying to balance both, because you still got bills to pay and stuff to do
absolutely
and insurance.
insurance.
Yeah. See, I know all about it. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yes, yes. And a question that I do have surrounding that. So when you're filling out, of course, job applications, there's a catch-22 for me in that. So they always ask the question about disabilities and your health status. You
Mhm.
know, is that a wise thing to do? Is to say yes, I have disabilities because I mean, or not to mention them. I don't know. So I started to wonder if that could be a hindrance.
It's kind of twofold. One, because you want to set yourself up for success. So if you do
Mhm,
have a health challenge or disability, and let's say if you had a hearing impairment, right, and you
mhm,
wanted to do customer service, so a company is obligated to provide. You always see on there, is there some way that we can provide accessible um,
mhm,
services or
mhm.
something like that? And they'll say, and you can put yes. So in that example, if I had a hearing impairment and I had to do customer service all day over the phone, I would definitely check yes, because they may have a tool or something where they can help me to receive calls and speak back, right? The flip side, to your point, there is discrimination. We can't get away from it. It is what it
Right,
is. And
right,
so sometimes I had a client that had a disability, and we were finding that he was getting discriminated against because he would check yes, trying to be honest. And the minute he checked no, he got, you know, calls and recruiters reaching out. So one, I would think about, if I don't put this on here, is it going to hinder me from a performance standpoint? Right?
right,
Because ultimately you
right,
want to think about you and setting yourself up for success. And maybe you want to go to this employer to gain a skill set, or
right.
is offering more money. But I always tell professionals, make sure you're getting something out of it if you're going in to any
Right.
employer, because they definitely getting something out of it. So
Absolutely.
I think, a long answer to your question is, I think ultimately, is it going to hinder your performance? One would be my first question to myself. And then two, if it's not going to hinder your performance, I would opt out. Now, again, this is just Kelly speaking for anybody watching there. If you have a disability and impairment, it's not like you're lying, right?
Right.
Because nobody needs to know your personal business. They ask you a question and you can decide whether or not to answer it or not. I don't know if that's
Okay.
helpful or not.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, it's
Okay.
very helpful. Because I've always been like, I don't know if I want to say this or
Say
not.
this or not. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I know.
absolutely.
Um, from the business aspect, I am a huge advocate of getting your own consultant
Yes.
or business, what have you. Only because one, that's what I did, and I see the
Okay.
differences. And two, I always believe in owning your own time, right? Like
Right.
you said earlier, you're on. They own your time because they're going to tell you what to do. That's what a job description is. They say this
Right.
is what we need you to do, and
Right.
so anybody can take their skills and their experience, and you have 2 decades, a little bit more than that, of experience, and you can leverage that and get your own clients, work with who you want to work with, work when you want to work, and make what you want to make. So I'm going to always advocate for that. And so I
Okay.
know it's hard when you're working and you still got obligations and then you're trying to get
Right.
something off the ground. That's what I did, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a challenge, but I knew for me, I
Hmm.
couldn't do this long working for somebody. It just wasn't
Right.
right.
Right. It starts to dawn like,
Yeah.
like it becomes like a daily thing, like, I've got to do something. But
Hmm.
then, like I said, that exhaustion is there, and then you're just getting home, and it's just like, I can't look or read or look at anything else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I know. I
just
know.
trying to, because it's something I'm passionate about it.
Hmm.
I started working on bits and pieces of it, and then I may have an extremely busy day at work, and then it's like my business or getting it off the ground is being delayed longer,
Hmm.
longer, and longer, and I'm like, is this normal, or should I not be, be able to
Yeah.
transition? So I didn't know, like, is that normal for it to take so long? I started feeling
Absolutely.
like I wasn't doing something right.
No, it takes time. It takes time. And I know that feeling as well. And oftentimes, because we're in this society where everything is at the push, we can take our phone and hit a button and call somebody. We
Right,
can click on a microwave and something. So we are programmed to think everything is instant. And if it's not happening quick enough, it's like, are we doing enough?
right,
Or is this ever gonna happen? Or am I the only one? I don't feel like I'm doing enough. It takes years. You just don't see that online. It look like everybody balling out of control, and it took years. It takes years, and some of that stuff online is not real.
right,
So
right. Absolutely right about that. Yes.
yeah, but yeah, it takes time. And in each day, what I did, I would go on my lunch hour
Mhm.
and I would get in my car, and that's when I got my LLC. I went to the
Okay.
Secretary of State, and
Mhm.
every day I just put in my mind, I'm gonna do something towards even if it was just a little bit. But I wanted to know because it helped me to stay motivated to go to work because I knew that
Right,
I was working towards something,
right. Absolutely.
right? And
Okay.
I share that with my daughter too. I Because she got frustrated, so I'm helping her work on her business. And I said it's different than going to work and just going to work. But now you're working on something. You can see a goal in mind, right? So we put
Right.
goals in mind and dates in mind. But I think absolutely what you're doing and what you've done, you can turn it into consulting. And I'll share a, a plug for I have a
Okay.
consulting class coming up on the 7th of
Okay.
October. Yeah, definitely,
Okay.
definitely get in there because I'm sharing some things that I'm pretty positive a lot of people don't know about, and you can
Okay.
set yourself up um, fairly well. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that. But what you do, Yeah, and health and tech, all of that combined, and then quality and all of your experience with workflows and automation.
Right.
Yeah, Latanya. It's just figuring out the pieces, and I know it can be overwhelming and
Yes.
thinking about how to even get started and kick it off. But
Hmm.
yeah, on October 7th, we're going to do step by step, and so I'll show you how to do that. But you can
Okay.
definitely do both because I know, like
Okay.
I said, you got to pay bills. So I would, you know, and even getting off work is mentally draining. You've been working with people and stuff all day, and then to try to fix your brain to work on your business. I know that feeling. I
Oh,
know.
yes.
I know. I know.
And like deep down inside, I'm feeling like I'm supposed to be doing this.
Hmm.
I know it's
Hmm.
not just going to help myself, but I want my business to help people,
I love
so
that. I love that. I love
yes,
that a
I
lot.
want people to be able to help themselves or advocate for themselves. So that's why the name of my business is Down to the Roots.
I
So
love that.
just
I love
getting down to the bottom of what's going on or the root cause of issues and
it.
problems. So
Hmm.
um, yes,
Hmm.
it's kind of broad. So I chose that so that I can be able to go into different entities in different areas,
Hmm.
and use my knowledge to grow each of those areas or do whatever I want to do. So down to the roots can apply to any in uh, every place in life.
Hmm. No, I love that. I love that name as well.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love that. So I think, you know, just to ensure that, you're sustaining your lifestyle now, I do think there may be a disconnect with the resume to the decision makers. If you're not getting the calls, um, um, like you like to get and the type of
Hmm.
calls that you want to get, I would definitely look at the resume. And we can definitely talk about that. If you want some assistance with that, I'm happy to help, kind of
Thank
help
you.
you with that. And then from the business aspect, don't get too tough on yourself. Give yourself some grace because it's hard trying to do
Mhm.
both. It's not easy. And don't let anyone tell you it is because it's not. And you got to
Right.
be built for it. You got to really want it, which it sounds like you do, but it can be done. It can be done, and I'm a witness of that. It can be done, and you would be. I think you would do yourself a disservice if you don't go after that. And anybody that's watching this, go after it because the system was not designed for it. You'll never get rich working, even if you got two
Right.
jobs. It's not gonna happen.
Mm-mm. No, ma'am, it will not. So,
It's not. It's just not
yes.
gonna happen. Like we watched our parents and grandparents and all them work, and we were probably comfortable or what have you, but they never got rich or wealthy. It's just not set up, designed that way. So getting your own and building your own, creating your own,
Yes.
that's that's where it's at. And even going through that process is amazing. People want to get to the destination, to the money, or to, the impact, and all of that comes in the journey, but people don't talk about that a lot. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah, you definitely got the skills, girl. I'm happy for you, excited for you, and
thank
definitely.
you.
Um,
Thank you.
any other questions you have?
Um, just wanting to ask too, I do have my notes here. So, as it comes to like dealing with employers, with compensation, cost of living, inflation, and what you're getting paid, and uh, how, like, so if they're hiring someone else to come in and do your position or work alongside of you, how do you advocate for yourself? Because this next person that's coming in that doesn't maybe know how the system is ran there, you have to train them, and they're coming in already making what you took 8 years to build up and make.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, so that in itself can cause a bittersweet. Like, why am I training someone that's making what I'm making or more than what I'm making just because they're just starting now? But
Mm-hmm.
then they don't want to adjust your pay, and there's been inflation and a rise of cost. but someone else can come in and just make that automatically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That's the
that's a
most,
great question.
that's the most frustrating part of dealing with it now. So it's just like, do you question it? Do you try to, at least for the duration of the time that you are in the position or looking, do you try to get that from employers? If so, what would you recommend?
Hmm.
What would be your approach? Do you recommend that approach to speaking with HR about things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate that question. Have you talked to anyone about it, like your boss or HR
I
about?
have, and the key word is always budget. But
Hmm.
and I understand budget, but however, it's the demand is still there, and sometimes it could be a difference as in just a job title change, but still,
Hmm.
I found out from my research, it's like you have a position that's kind of broad so that it can cover you doing all these different things
Hmm.
versus
Hmm.
the job title or the position that's going to pay you more to do these to do it specifically, if that makes sense, where it's written out.
Hmm.
So it's been administrative assistant because it's the more broader term. And
Hmm.
change and modify, and then that word other,
Hmm.
one that gets you at the very bottom. Other
Right.
duties as a sign,
At the time. Hmm.
Is it even fair to ask, well, can you be detailed about what the other duties may be or whatnot? Just even for the future, um,
Hmm.
as I do want to move on, is that a
Hmm.
safe question to ask an employer?
Absolutely. You can definitely ask what would those other duties include. Can you give me examples
Mhm,
of other duties as assigned? Does this position um, is it multifunctional? Does it interact with other departments? And if so, how? These are
mhm,
definitely questions you want to ask on the front end.
mhm,
And I think to circle back to your initial question about inflation and asking for additional compensation, you talk to HR or to your direct, the person you
I'm
directly
gonna
report
say both. I would both.
to? Okay.
Yeah.
And what was, and both of them said don't have the budget?
Um, yeah, it's just like a budget issue, but then you can see still hiring
Hmm.
other positions,
Hmm.
that it ends up just still being another line of service for you to work for, if that
Right.
makes sense. So,
Mhm.
um, I've come to my conclusion. So it's like, okay, well, as you're getting busier and volume increases, you can't really expect for a person to put out the same quality because it's more work being done. So
Mhm.
are you going to get more help, or is there some type of pay raise that may be involved as the business is growing?
Mhm.
So when it's no to kind of both of them, then now I know what I need to do. But
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. It sounds like you've asked the question, which I always ask people if they have even asked, because a lot of times some people say they want things and haven't asked for it. So it sounds like you've done that. The other thing, my approach would be to, when you first got your job description to what you're doing now, I'm sure the role has evolved, it's changed, it's
mhm,
added on. And so what you initially signed up for, I'm sure, like I said, it's grown, it's expanded. There's other duties that have been tacked on to that. But I would go in to a
mhm,
meeting with that data from your original job description, and then I would add on to that everything that has incurred or has been added since you first started, and then show
mhm,
them if it's been years, like your increases, if you've had any. And I would back that up with industry. What does the industry pay for your role? And
mhm.
then two, I wouldn't compare myself to others coming in. That's a conversation that, because you don't know what they bring. They could,
Right.
a lot of times companies will get someone externally because they've worked at Google or they worked at, another automation or workflow company. And so they're looking for them to bring those skills in to the company, and because you, in their mind, the perception is you've just been here. So this person we're bringing in, they've been outside, they've been external, they've been working on this tool, that tool. So I always kind of veer away or steer away from comparing myself, but just
Mhm.
ultimately showing them what I bring to the table, the how I've been able to contribute at a high level. And here is the data, because numbers don't lie. I've been able to streamline this workflow. I've saved us time doing this. Last quarter or last year, we had this workflow in place, and I was able to connect with this vendor to, minimize the time and all of that. Like I would spell all of that out. So then it's more about, okay, she's brought a lot of value. It's not just in their mind somebody asking for some more money, right?
Right.
Without data to back it up. Because then you also see it and you're like, yeah, I've done a lot. So
Yes.
I've done a lot. And they also know that, okay, she has contributed, because there's times too that our manager or our leadership team, they're not sure they know you come to work and you do a great job, but the
Right.
details, the intricate detail, oh, you did that? Oh, I didn't know you were part of that. Oh, you were on that project? Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were doing all of that in 2022. Sometimes we have to put it in their face because they're
Right.
thinking about their job. And especially if they have a big team, they're thinking about everybody else. They have to report to senior leaders. They have goals that they have to meet. They just know, okay, I know Latanya, she's doing a great job. She does her work. She comes in, but we got to break it down to them. And we have to schedule the time on the calendar, right? Touch base, right? And then
Right.
go in and say, I wanted to share something with you. I know we had a conversation around compensation, but I also wanted to share with you, outside of compensation, here's some of the value that I've brought to this company as well as this team since being here. I wouldn't even say compensation. I just wanted to share with you. Remember that project we worked on, and I would go down the line just highlighting things,
Mhm.
and then I would pause and let them respond to that, because sometimes even if we can get a stipend for conferences or events or professional development, right?
Mhm.
Budget doesn't allow for compensation. And I know we need to pay our light bill and our gas bill. I get that. But oftentimes the skills that we acquire as well, those get us more money.
Right. Okay.
So there's all kind of you can negotiate more vacation where you can be off to look for a job. You can
Mhm.
negotiate a what they call a health and welfare day, right? A
Right.
mental day,
Mental health day. Yeah.
a work day. So think from that perspective. If budget is concerned, and I don't know any company that my daughter's going through the same thing. She wants more
Mhm.
money, but I told her to ask for. She need a phone, and she uses her phone for work. So, and
Right.
they're gonna get her a phone, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
all in how you position it. And again, I'm happy to help you kind of write that out and spell that out if that's something you want to do as well. Did that help at all?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Anything else I can help you with?
I think that's it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I know those that will be watching can resonate with a lot of the questions. You have some amazing questions.
Thank you.
And like I said, hopefully that was helpful.
It
And
was very helpful.
thank you
Thank
so much for joining me. I
Thanks
appreciate
for having me here today.
it.
Thank
Sure.
you.